Welcome to the Basketball Fiends Podcast, a proud member of the Arskina Podcast Network. My name is Jesus Acevedo Jr., and I'm joined by my co-host, Alex Aguilera, coming all the way from Chicago, Chi-Town, to be making the drive to Michigan, which is, I forgot, you told me how many hours, but I know it's, 6 hours, 7 hours?
No,
drive?
no, it's like 4.5. No,
four and a half.
7, that'd be rough, yeah.
See, that's awesome. You live in a state where 4 hours, you're in a whole different state. You know,
Yeah.
in Texas, I gotta drive at least 6 hours, give or take. Well, to get to New Orleans, Louisiana, about 2 hours, but that's close. But to get to, like, say, the West, takes me 12 hours to get to El Paso. 12 hours, and I'm still in one state.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that doesn't make sense. Like, all right, 2 hours you're in Louisiana, 12 hours you're still in Texas. Well, Texas is a big state, but yeah, I kind of forget how big Texas is, and it's like over here in Illinois. I mean, honestly, we're borderline Gary, Indiana. Like Gary, Indiana, depending on where you live, could be like a 20-minute drive if you're close enough. So that's interesting. Geography.
Yeah, it takes you 12 hours to drive from Houston to El Paso, and 12 hours to get to El Paso to Los Angeles. And through El Paso to Los Angeles, to El Paso to Los Angeles, you cross like 2 states. You cross New Mexico and Arizona.
Wow. I mean, I gotta make a trip out west. Furthest out west I've been is Vegas.
Oh, Vegas, yes.
If that even counts.
Yeah, of course. That is in the West. You know, that's in the West. You know what else is in the West? The Utah Jazz, west, northwest, I guess you can say. Still, you know, close to Las Vegas. But yeah, the Utah Jazz, Alex, find themselves looking for a new head coach because Quin Snyder, long tenured Jazz coach Quin Snyder, recently stepped down. He had 2 years left on his contract. And Alex, this was something that had been rumored throughout the season. Not through most of the season, but, you know, through the latter half of the season, and especially after the playoffs. I know I saw a couple rumors out there that, you know, things that this Jazz team, there are going to be some changes. And, you know, I did not expect Quin Snyder to be the first domino to fall, especially while the season is still going. You know, I expected some of these moves to come in the offseason, but, you know, I guess Quin Snyder just wanted to get ahead of the game, you know. But
yes. Yeah, and then I guess because he was there 8 years. He was there 8 years. Actually, he has the second most wins by a head coach in Jazz history, trailing Jerry Sloan,
the great Jerry Sloan,
the late great Jerry Sloan, who he probably wasn't gonna catch up with. He had like over 1,000, and he ended his tenure at 372. But yeah, I mean, I guess this is the first domino, I guess, of the Jazz kind of falling apart, I guess, per se.
It's interesting where they go. You know, you say falling apart, and it depends what they do.
Right? I guess, that's true.
Because I know when the Quin Snyder news dropped, you know, also Donovan Mitchell expressed his unhappiness with the situation now. And look, let us say the Jazz wanted Quin Snyder back. This was Quin Snyder's doing. The Jazz, Danny Ainge came on and said, we did everything we could to get him to stay. You know, they're clearly happy with what Quin Snyder's done. Granted, his playoff success isn't all that great, but I don't think that's on him. I just think that's on the competition that they've faced. You know, I think he's made do with less than other teams that he's faced in the playoffs. You know, aside from Donovan Mitchell, who's the other all-star? You know,
right?
You know, Rudy Gobert, but yes, he's going to help you defend, but I need somebody that can score. And Jordan Clarkson, you know, I don't want to say he had a down year from last year's Sixth Man of the Year, but he didn't take a step up. You know, it was almost a somewhat similar season. So what I find interesting is I wonder what Quin Snyder would do. Will he take a year off coaching, as you know some coaches do, or will he jump right into it? As you know, other members of NBA organizations, like for example, Daryl Morey, whenever he resigned from the Houston Rockets, and when he stepped away, he said it was for family, and then a couple months later, he's the GM of the Philadelphia 76ers, right? So there's that route. Or Quin Snyder could just decide to sit for a year and just wait and pick his opportunity because he's a good coach.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like any team with a head coaching vacancy would love the services of Quin Snyder. Who knows? Like I'm just not that I know anything. I'm just like throwing some wild idea out there that if next year ends up being Greg Popovich's last year and Quin Snyder may end up taking this little gap year off, then who knows? That may be a move where he decides, he makes the move to San Antonio if that ends up being the case. But I guess I shouldn't say that the Jazz are falling apart yet. It just sort of feels like this inevitable change that's gonna happen over there. They've had a couple, getting bounced in the playoffs the last few years. I think the bubble year, I think that was a year, they felt like, I think even myself felt like they could have made, a deeper run.
I
Uh,
do wonder how much the break hurt them because they were on a good roll. They were the
right,
best team in the league that year, if I'm not
right.
mistaken.
Yeah, yeah. And who knows? And also, I know the drama too, within the team. I know with the pandemic stuff. There was rumors swirling around about that players were a little bit unhappy with each other, a little chippy, whatever the case may be. But nonetheless, there's just been so much, I guess, odd chatter around this team that you kind of feel like something was gonna happen at some point. And honestly, like Quin Snyder leaving a couple years before his contract ends is kind of like, it's definitely like a head scratcher. So
And now we can close all this topic talking about the Jazz, and you were kind of broaching the topic. You said falling apart, and like I said, it depends what they do.
yeah,
I do believe either don't Donovan Mitchell or Rudy Gobert, we could see them move. Which that'll be interesting, and my interest will be in who they get as head coach.
yeah.
Um, I think that says a lot. And will they wait for the head coach, hire the head coach before they make the moves? Is there like a waiting period to hire coaches? Like, for example, free agency starts when July 1st usually. Like, is there a waiting period, or like as soon as the finals is over, like even now, can you announce coaching?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I don't, because look, Darvin Ham, he was being
Right.
coached, so
I
so
was just about to say,
yeah.
yeah.
So that's pretty interesting, huh? Why coaches are allowed to do that, but players you have to wait to a certain
Right.
time period. So
That's interesting.
um
Yeah.
something that we didn't tell our listeners is that we're recording on Wednesday night. You're listening to us on Thursday. We're recording Wednesday night at, well, it's currently about 10 11 p.m. on Central. Game 3 of the Celtics Golden State Warriors is going on right now. Game 3, Boston 104, Golden State 94. It's 8:08. So we're gonna see if by the third topic we come around, Alex, the game will be over and we can kind of recap it. We had to do this episode a little earlier in the week for some scheduling issues, but we of course had to get an episode, our 59th episode. But we're gonna keep talking about coaches, Alex, because one coach that I'm very familiar with, Mike D'Antoni, has been mentioned as being top 2 candidate for the Charlotte Hornets job. Him and Kenny Atkinson's, they have moved on, I guess you can say, to the final round of interviews, right? They're going to meet with Michael Jordan and I guess discuss how they each fit with each other.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I'm curious. Mike D'Antoni kind of intrigues me just because, if you kind of know, or you get a sense of who he is, you kind of know D'Antoni's very offensive minded. I'm curious. Um, Bringing sort of his mentality, LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, a lot of those young guys with the athleticism that they have. I'm curious just how that would blend in. So I feel like, it kind of makes sense, you know, for him to be a finalist. Like I think it makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
It'd be fun to see what a Mike D'Antoni offense run by LaMelo Ball would look like. Because I mean, it feels like it'll be a perfect marriage, right?
Right.
Like
You
their
saw what he did with
hearts.
Steve Nash.
It was already with Steve Nash, and I mean, you could argue that LaMelo Ball has better skills than Steve Nash. Now, will he be better than Steve Nash throughout his career? That remains to be seen. But the skills, I think you can say, are better, except for shooting. I think Steve Nash was a better shooter. I don't think he gets enough credit for how good of a shooter. I mean, that
Yeah,
really
he actually was a really good shooter.
that opened up everything for him. That's
Yeah.
what he was able to do, a lot of pump fakes and getting there, and his footwork was on for a guard was really good. But I think Dan Tony's offense could work. But here's the thing, like I said, I know Dan Tony very well. He coached the Rockets 5 years, 6 years. Not can't remember clearly, but well, the teams have a good offense. Defense is always second, second. And there were a couple of years the Rockets they have a good defense, but they had to have a good defense because they were going up against the Golden State Warriors. That's one thing I would like to see from D'Antoni is, but he's not gonna do it. He's gonna be who he is, and look, he's gotten results. So why would he change? He's gotten teams deep into the playoffs, into the Western Conference Finals. He's yet to make it to the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be a good match because of what's already there with Charlotte Hornet. You have your Montrezl Harrell. He can be your pick and roll guy. He can roll. He can pick and pop. He can kind of play that Amari Stoudemire role that with the Phoenix Suns and PJ Washington. That's another one. But so it's I think this is a great marriage.
Yeah, and I think too what helps is that there isn't necessarily a win now mentality just yet. I mean, this is a very young Charlotte Hornets team that is on the come up, that is on the rise. So I don't think it's the case where I would argue for Darvin Ham's case with the Lakers, it's kind of like, all right, he needs to come in, and the
And
Lakers
now,
need to start winning right now because it's championship or bust in LA. Whereas with D'Antoni and he comes in, there's a little bit of leeway where it's like, all right, let's let this marinate a little bit and see how things go. So I mean, I don't think there is necessarily a rush for him to come in and make an impact where the Charlotte Hornets all of a sudden next year are expected to make a deep run in the playoffs and be a top Eastern Conference team. I mean, there's still a lot of youth that needs to be developed there.
it's a competitive move, right? Like we need to compete. We need to go to the second round of
Right,
the playoffs. We need to like build. We can't. Yes, obviously, if you get on the run and you win now, nobody's gonna
right,
say
yeah,
no. But yeah, this isn't like like you said, it's not like the Lakers had job where like you have to when you have LeBron. Like every year, it's like you have to compete for the title. You have to, or it's a loss. It's a bust. I think for the Charlotte Hornets next season, it's make the playoffs and get to the second round. Like that's what it is. I think the last 2 years they've lost in the playing tournament. Granted, you could say make it to the first round is fine, but I think second round really makes a statement.
yeah.
You make a statement and you say we're here. We're gonna start competing more and more and more. We're gonna be here. You're gonna have to get used to the Charlotte Hornets. But one thing I also wonder is what moves they make. Based on the coach they get now. Let's not put aside Kenny Atkinson actually, because if we remember, he got a lot out of a young Brooklyn Nets team. He took them to the playoffs. I think they lost in the first round to the 76ers. But he had them, they were always very competitive. And this was before Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant got there. I think in the bubble year, they in the bubble playoffs, they made it. And
Mhm.
it's th- going back to what you're saying, the Charlie Hornets is a young team.
Right,
I got me thinking about well, Kenny Atkins has a lot of experience with young team, and one thing Mike
and
D'Antoni doesn't do is he's not a big fan of playing rookies,
yeah,
right?
that's
Like
true.
like, like he's if you think about it, most of the teams he's coached have been veterans. Going
Hmm.
down to the Suns, well, Lakers he didn't have success there, but he's the Rockets veterans. When he went with the Knicks he had Lamelo and who else did he have? I think Amari was there at the time. I'm not sure, but it was still a lot of other young players. So I think I wonder maybe that's on in their mind too. Is that we do have a lot of young players. Thinking like who will be the veteran of the group? Montrezl Harrell, Terry. Terry Rozier.
Right, yeah. Guess
Okay,
you could kind of consider him a little bit of a vet.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, for the most part, I mean that team is young. Excuse me, but I like that you make the point about Kenny Atkinson. I remember when he got let go from the Brooklyn job. I can't speak for everyone, but I found I found it kind of surprising of him getting Knicks because I mean I thought the Nets had like a nice little thing going there
yep,
with Karis
yeah.
LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jared Allen. Like hey, those guys have sort of found nice little roles in the teams that they're at now, and Kenny Atkinson was the head coach of those teams, and everyone was like, oh, well, they got Kevin Durant and Kyrie, and it was like, okay, I mean, whatever. They kind of went all in with those guys, that type of deal. But they had a nice little young core that was developing there, and they kind of just broke it up. And Kenny Atkinson, I felt was able to work with those guys well. So to your point. I can also see why Kenny Atkinson, you can make an argument for him as well because he's worked with a young team recently in the Brooklyn Nets that was on the come up, and just unfortunately that didn't work out. But you could kind of see they were on a rising trajectory there.
And Kenny Atkinson, his last 2 years, when he was let go from Brooklyn, he went and became an assistant coach for the Los Angeles Clippers under Tyronn Lue. So head coaching, I mean, assistant coaching experience from a championship winning coach, and currently he's an assistant coach with the Golden State Warriors. So right now he's getting finals experience. So
Yeah,
those are, I mean, especially with the Golden State Warriors, that's a good franchise to be involved in, right? It's they talk a lot about coaching trees. He's gonna be now part of the Steve Kerr coaching tree, but also Tyronn Lue. So I wouldn't put it past it if they throw a curveball and they hire Kenny Atkinson. As much fun as a Mike D'Antoni, sorry, as a Lamelo Ball, Mike D'Antoni led offense would be, I think I wonder perhaps for better success, maybe deeper runs into the playoffs. Maybe Kenny Atkinson is your guy because I think he might be able to get more out of them on the defensive end.
yeah. Like I mean, I think either way, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you can make a case for either guy. Would make they can kind of make sense, how you look at it. But I like that you bring up the point that he's with the Golden State staff right now. You saw Mike Brown; he just got a gig with the Sacramento Kings, and now he's up for this possible gig with the Charlotte Hornets. And we all know that Golden State's kind of been the gold standard as far as it's a successful NBA team. You could even maybe argue dynasty, if you will. So yeah, I mean, I like see not I don't know why, but I'm kind of talking myself into like Kenny Atkinson,
I'm
like that.
telling you, it's
Like
you kept when you kept telling me it's a young team, I was like, it is a young team, and I'm trying to
yeah,
think of now. Here's what I thought was going to happen. I think many people thought was going to happen. Doc Rivers was going to be let go from the 76ers, and Mike D'Antoni was going to step up and be the head coach. And now that's a veteran team. You got James Harden, you got Joel Embiid, small forward. I'm blanking out on his name right
what,
now.
Tobias Harris.
To Tobias Harris, you do have a couple young players, but I think they're already proven enough in this league to where you can kind of you're not asking completely to depend on them. But that's what I thought was going to happen, and I think that would have fit. But like I said, a Mike D'Antoni team with Charlotte Hornets will be so much fun, and they'll be league pass even more than what they already are just to watch LaMelo Ball. You know, so yeah, so that was our second topic. Our third topic was to recap game three, but the game is currently 5 minutes left. Boston 110, Golden State 96. So we're gonna maybe save that for the last topic, Alex. I think it just makes sense. We can kind of recap it fully and really understand, and better be able to talk when people listen to this episode tomorrow.
Yeah, that makes sense. We could try. We
We
could.
could
I
try.
mean, we could try to recap a game that's ongoing right now. I don't know if that's even a recap at that point. I don't know if you want to hear us freaking giving commentary.
As the game is going on. No,
Right.
one thing that I want to talk about is, is this finals Curry moment to really cement his legacy. And the reason why I say that is, and I guess this will be our third topic, Steph Curry's, you know, NBA Finals legacy. I guess every other NBA Finals he's been outshine. Not that he hasn't been important even in those finals games. He's been very important, but he's been outshine. And look, to his credit, two of those times was Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's going to outshine 99.99999% of everybody on the
True.
basketball court. There's very few people that he won't outshine. But that's something I thought entering this final. I was like, this is Steph Curry's final to lose. I think I might have said a couple episodes back. This is his final to lose. This is his finals MVP to lose. I think this will be the perfect way to be like, okay, I belong, and this will give him what, 4 titles. So I think it's his. Like he has to win this, and he has to win Finals MVP.
I mean, I guess as far as finals resume, it would be nice for him to have at least one finals MVP. I mean, it would only make sense just because of the player of his stature, but I think it's just as far as overall legacy. I mean, I think it's kind of cemented as it is. It's probably just going down as the greatest shooter of all time. I mean, does a final would a finals MVP be kind of nice just because it's like that one little thing that he
Right.
doesn't have, but it's like he's got 3 rings already. Like it isn't like we're talking about, oh, he still needs to get that championship. He's got 3 already. He just doesn't have the finals MVP. Like I'm not like so into. I do feel like it kind of is his finals MVP to lose, but like I'm not gonna look back at Steph Curry's career and be like, damn, he didn't get that finals MVP. It's like, dude, guy got 3 rings and he's on the 3 point on the he's the all time leader in 3 points made. So I'm just kind of like,
Maybe not his legacy, but more so like his, because that's one thing that people can ding him on. You're like, yeah, you were great, greatest shooter ever. Great offensive threat. Everything that you did for the game, and the awards, back to back MVPs, 3 titles. But you never play like that in the finals. You had good games, but not the Steph Curry games that we're accustomed to.
like you
So,
weren't. Yeah, I guess.
but now here's the thing is that it's circumstantial going back. 2 of those times it was Kevin Durant, right? I
Right.
mean, like,
Kevin
okay, so
Durant did his thing.
we
Like,
can't say nothing about that. Now the first one was that was the Andre Iguodala one year, if I'm
yeah.
not mistaken, right? So same situation. Andre Iguodala was playing both sides of the court and both halves, and you could really see it because he made an impact in stopping LeBron James. Keeping him down, holding him down to the performances that LeBron has. So I can see why they gave it to Iguodala, because without Iguodala, you definitely do not beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in that series.
Yeah, I mean, he was as far as like defining an X factor in the series, like freaking Iguodala was it. Man, dude, that was 2015. Sorry,
2015.
Jesus Christ. Okay, that's sorry. I like stopped myself because I'm like, wait, 2015. But yeah, I mean, look, that was a young Warriors team that everyone was kind of like hopping on the bandwagon on. It was like, hey, like the Warriors are good all of a sudden. Like it isn't the We Believe Warriors. Like they're in the finals and they had a chance to beat LeBron James. And I mean, Iguodala too. I don't think he had finals. I want to say that was his first finals as
Yes.
well, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, he was a vet. He was a vet on that team.
Yeah.
That was a guy where
That was
he
the year where he purposely went to Golden State. 'Cause I think the previous year he had got traded to the Denver Nuggets, and he decided to go to Golden State because Golden State faced Denver Nuggets the year prior that year, and so he decided to go. But yeah, no, but so far, 2 games and almost through 4 quarters of game 3, I think to this point, Steph Curry is among the leaders in of the finals MVP discussion. Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown are also in the discussion after Al Horford's game 1 performance. He was in the discussion. So, that's one thing that's interesting about finals MVP is that it most often, yes, it's the stars, right? The superstars, but sometimes it's
yeah,
a random character. If I'm not
yeah.
mistaken, I think Vinny Johnson won it one year for the Detroit Pistons when they were on back to back. Maybe I'm wrong. You know what? I'm gonna Google that right now.
Yeah, check that. I think that's kind of where like I don't make as much of a big of a deal. Jesus, I can't talk. I guess that's why I'm not too whatever about it. Just because I mean, if that ends up being true, like you've had some Finals MVPs where you're just like, who
Yeah.
the hell is that? Like, why did they win Finals MVP? Hey, it was just that they had a really good series. They showed up when it mattered most. And look, they got MVP. It isn't to diminish that achievement by any means, but hey, it's just like hey, so for some guys, it's like hey, it's their time, and when they show up, they decide to show up when it matters most, and they get that achievement for very good reason. And once again, just circumstantial. Just hey, Iguodala was the ultimate X factor in that series. That helped Golden State win that first title. And then of course the next two, Kevin Durant. It's like all right, well that his name kind of speaks for himself, really. So, I mean, I look. I think it would be nice. I know he wants that Finals MVP because it's just like that one little thing that he doesn't have. But he's like, hey, if I
I
get a
don't have
fourth
this.
ring, right? I don't have this, but hey, if he wins a fourth ring and he doesn't get Finals MVP, I mean, it may suck, but he'll be like, hey man, I got 4 rings, so whatever.
It'd be interesting if here's another crazy. While we wait for this game to finish, Talk about Curry and rings. He has 3 rings for now, right?
Yeah.
This is what I'm gonna make you lose your mind completely.
Okay.
Okay. MJ has 6.
Yeah.
Kobe has 5.
Right.
LeBron has 4.
Yeah.
Curry has 3.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant has 2.
Yep.
I think that's how it's gonna stay. I don't think they 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Oh my god, man! I'm like, why is he listing off? And I'm like,
Think
okay,
about it.
6.
Just think about it. I think
Oh my god, you wanted to stay that way because you
I
like that
wanted to
it's
stay
6-5.
that
You're bringing this. Oh my
6,
god.
5, 4, 3, 2. And then that's a whole other different conversation. So about, does Kevin Durant ever get his 2 rings if he doesn't go to Golden State? But that's another topic. But yeah, so 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
God, man, it's like, hey, I don't think LeBron's gonna win any more rings. You want to know why? Hear me out. Jordan
Just hear
has
me out.
6, Kobe has 5, LeBron has 4, 6, 5, 4. Get the hell out of here, man. He brought it down to 2. I think he's
Right
gonna
at
stay that
2.
way. I don't think Curry's gonna win another ring. Why? 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Mathematically, it just needs to stay this way, But yeah,
So done,
so
man.
I mean that's why I picked Boston. No, not
Shouldn't.
really, but yeah. So here we are. The last topic of the night is episode 59th of the basketball episode. Our third to last episode of the Basketball Fiends. After this one, we got 2 more episodes, episode 60 and 61st. It's just odd for each on 61st, but it is what it is. But yes, the last topic, the Boston Celtics up on the Golden State Warriors, 116 to 100, 2 minutes left. And I think I'm just gonna go ahead and call it. I think Boston go ahead and got game 3. They're up 2-1 in the series. And look, this was a very evenly game. I was for a minute it seemed like Celtic was going to run away with it. They got to a huge lead, and I was like, oof. I was like, game 2 was started like a blowout, kind of like this, and I was hoping we were going to get almost 2 back-to-back blowout games.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're up by I got 116 and 100.
Yeah,
Okay, so I mean, it's not a blowout, but like they definitely got like a decent lead.
yeah,
I guess I will say it's kind of been a uninteresting finals or playoffs in general.
mm,
But I mean, I know game 1 was a bit of a surprise. I think we all expected Golden State
yeah.
to win that one, but of course they came back game 2. Cruz, no biggie. And yeah, I mean, game 3, Boston Garden. I mean, hard place to win, but I mean, you got Jason Tatum. He's doing his thing now. I don't think he hasn't really had like a great shooting night, at least in my eyes. He only shot 9 for 23 from the field, but he did hit 5 of 6 free throws, and I'm a big free throw guy, so
Hey,
we
they're
we like
free.
that, right? Hey, that's why they're free. Marcus Smart, hey, he's got 24. Jaylen Brown, he's got 27. Al Horford, a little efficient, 11 points. He's not putting
And
up the
Grant
30, but
Williams, or the new PJ Tucker, as I like to call him, 10
yeah,
points.
yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, you got some guys on Boston's bench that are stepping up. You got Grant Williams. Yeah, he played 20 points. He played 20 minutes, put up 10 points. You got Derek White. He's been playing some big minutes. So I mean, hey, you got a nice little depth there with the Celtics, which helps. And I would say with Golden State, I mean, Jordan Poole, I know he had like 10 points, but Gary Payton II, he really didn't do too much in this game. I mean, I know he's coming back from an injury, so I don't think he's 100%. But yeah, it looks like Boston's kind of got like a deep team.
And Boston won every quarter. 33-22 in the first quarter, 35-34 in the second quarter. That's the quarter where I thought they were going to run away with it. And then Golden State went on their runs and they pulled it off. And then Golden State actually won the third quarter, as they always tend to do.
Yeah,
But it was 33-25, so it wasn't that much of a difference. What, like 8 points, and then the fourth quarter, that's where Boston really they just really tighten up the defense. Golden State, 11 points at time of recording. The game is still going on. Got about 31 seconds left. So yeah, just 11 points in the fourth quarter. Maybe they might hit a bucket. So 13 points, but less than 15 points in a quarter, even less than 20 if they go on a quick little run right now, right?
right.
But
Yeah,
I think that's been the difference so far. Is I think Boston 1 through 5, they can all defend and make things difficult for you, and they play good team defense. And in Golden State, it's not like that. It's not 1 through 5. You can pick your poison. You can go to Steph Curry or Jordan Poole, Clay Thompson. Just because he's not all the way back. If it was Clay Thompson fully healthy, obviously you wouldn't want to go against Clay Thompson.
Right.
I mean, you could, right? But uh, his defense isn't all there is, and so I think it's been easier, I guess, for Boston to kind of play how they play, because of that. They feel confident in their defense. Now, granted, they got blown out in game 2, right? But we've seen that defense get blown out, and it's just they're
Yeah.
just turning around for the next game.
Yeah, yeah. And look, Golden State's Golden State. At some point, it's like, look, you got the greatest shooter of all time. You got Klay Thompson. You got Wiggins, who's having a good year. Draymond Green. I mean, that's a team that's gonna put up a bunch of points, and they're gonna have a night where, hey, you know what, you just can't stop that, and you literally got to take the L, which they did in game 2. But yeah, I mean, it looks like just 3 games into this series, looks like we can tell that Boston is able to lock it down in the fourth quarter. So I got final score is 116-100, right? I'm
Final,
seeing this
yeah,
correct. Okay,
yeah.
that's final. Okay, just making sure that my computer isn't whatever. But yeah, I mean, Boston is locking it down when it matters more, when it matters most in that fourth quarter. So I mean, they're able to play a full 40 40, 40, 40 minutes, right?
48
45,
minutes,
48.
48.
Jeez, I can't do math. That's why I didn't go to this. Why I didn't go to school for math, man, because I suck. But hey, Boston is gonna be able to play a full 48 minutes. Why? Because this defense is locked down solid, and Golden State, I mean, they're able to hang in there, but now we've seen it again for a second time that they fizzle out in that fourth quarter, whatever reason. So now I think, as far as for Golden State, like they gotta make sure they can show up in the fourth quarter.
They have to show up in the fourth quarter, because if not, when's next game? Is it Friday? Yeah, Friday. Who Friday? Yeah, they need this. This is almost must win for Golden State, because if Boston goes up 3-1, you go back to Golden State. Fine, you get game 5, but you're coming back game 6 in the Garden. Boston looking to close it out bad. Like they're just gonna close this game
Right.
out. So I definitely think for Golden State, must win. And I expect them to win game 4. Game 4, I think they'll make the adjustment. I think this is gonna be a series where they're gonna keep trading, you know, wins back and forth until either game 6 or game 7, which I call Boston in 6. So we'll see how that stands. But the way the series is looking, I think it might go 7. And look, anything can happen in a game 7. But to me, that's been the difference makers. I think Boston's, big three. Because I think you got to throw in Marcus Smart there as part of the big three. Now he's been that kind of a player this season, and for the past couple of years, but especially this season's and in the final, like you say, he went for 24 points, plus minus 19, as you know, 24 points, and the defense that he plays.
Yeah, man.
That's like double the 24 points. It almost counts like 48 points for all the points that he deducts from the Golden State Warriors. But Clay and Steph, they needed somebody else to step up, and Jordan Poole's supposed to be that guy. He only had 10 points.
Right.
He only had what? He took 8 shots. He had half those shots, 1 of 4 3-point. But I'm not sure why we haven't seen Jordan Poole have those big games that we saw a lot during the season. That many people consider him a 6-man of the year candidate. No, sorry,
Right.
not 6-man.
Well,
Most improved player. Most
or
improved
that
player.
third splash brother.
The
So
third Splash Brother is like, it looks more like a puddle right now. I don't know. It's just
right. I mean, I feel like for Golden State, it's I mean, not to put it on Jordan Poole, but if this team's gonna gonna win this championship, I mean, they gotta be able to light it up for all 4 quarters, and you don't see that in the fourth quarter, and that's where they get in this run. And Boston's able to put the clamps on them and don't allow them to score. But look at what we saw in game 2. They freaking lit it up, and honestly, that's I mean, not to say that offense wins championships, but that's just honestly gonna give them the best chance to win. Is if they score more points than the Boston Celtics, pretty much.
yeah.
That's pretty, that's how you win. I mean, you score more points than the other team.
Pretty much. I mean, that's the scientific way of saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess in my case, Golden State cannot take their foot off the gas pedal offensively. Like they just can't.
The last score was for the Golden State Warriors, came at 319 with 319 remaining. Andrew Wiggins stole the ball, or there was a turnover and he ran and he dunked it. That was 100 to 112, and that was the last made bucket.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You can't go on an offensive drought where you're scoreless for 2.5, 3 minutes like that.
That's drastic.
Right.
That is not going to get it done.
Yeah.
But while the Golden State Warriors didn't get it done, we got it done in this episode. We were able to get in and talk about Game 3. We didn't get a chance to look ahead to Game 4, so we'll give our predictions right now. I think, you know what? I think Boston's gonna pull it out. I think Boston's gonna win Game 4 in a in a close game. Maybe we get a buzzer beater. That's my prediction.
I mean, I hope so. But actually, you know, I got Boston too. I mean, I know I said Golden State in 7, but that was good. I just think Boston is really starting to get in a little momentum now, and it just helps that they're in the Garden too. So
it definitely helps. Definitely helps. Well, thank you so much for listening to episode 59 of the Basketball Fiends. We got 2 more left after this one. Thank you so much, and don't forget to come back. See ya.
deuces.